So how do we optimize our health and our well-being as a guy over the age of 40? If we're not doing the right things, we know that our health and our well-being is going to decline as we get older. And our chances of coming up with different injuries and illnesses and all kinds of bad negative things on the health front become more and more prevalent as we get older. So we need to make a really conscious effort to push ourselves into a state of superior health rather than just being normal or on the decline to sickness. And look, when it comes to health, like anything else, if you're not improving, you're either staying stuck or more likely you're declining, especially as we get older. So what I want to do is I want to share with you just generally kind of 3 positions that most guys over 40 are in right now. And there's one position, which is the sick position, someone who's lost their health. There's the normal population, who are the people who are going to the doctor, they're getting pretty good blood work, maybe they're on some medications, but they're considered to be normal. And normal, just for the record, is not very good these days. Then there's another group of people who are in the superior health state. And I want to kind of share with you what that looks like and how we kind of measure this, right? So let me just draw up on the board here just an average everyday bell curve. And you've probably seen this in your science class maybe back in the day, but here, let me share this with you. So when we draw the bell curve, it looks like so, okay? So most people are somewhere in the middle. We'll call the middle normal. So this is normal. And then on one side of the curve, we have super healthy. These are like the people who you would walk by on the street, or maybe who you know in your life, who are just in great shape. They look great, they feel great, they perform great. They're legitimately optimized for health. These are the super healthy folks. Now they're in the minority. There's not too many of these people, right? So lots of people in the normal, and then on the other side, we have the sick folks, right? And this is where we want to avoid. Most people being in the middle, and we'll just assume maybe you're somewhere in the middle, maybe you're on this normal end. But what does normal look like? Because I think we have to have some specific measurements that we want to look at. How do we quantify if someone's normal compared to super healthy? Besides just an aesthetic, right? Because that's what most people look at. If someone has abs, right, we automatically assume they're super healthy. But I've known people who smoke cigarettes and have abs. I know people who are on a tremendous amount of medications, hormone replacements, all kinds of stuff, who are not very healthy, but just look a certain part, right? So we have to be a little bit more diligent in how we measure this stuff. So let's do some simple things first. Let's just talk about, first of all, just what does the markers look like, or what do the blood markers look like that you get from your doctor? So if you're someone who's normal, let's just use some simple ones, like blood pressure, right? We can do blood pressure would be 120/80, right? That would be a normal blood pressure, okay? What about cholesterol? Somewhere less than 200, right, for cholesterol. What about, let's just say HbA1c, which is a measurement of blood sugar over the course of the last 3 months. So we'll say that's like HbA1c would be 5.6, something like that, all right? Maybe it's just a little high. But so just as an idea, these are some normal things that we can get. And we can make a huge list here, right? We can make a giant list, and most people are going to be somewhere in that normal range, right? But now let's go beyond just blood markers, right? What's going to put someone into a normal category when it comes to fitness? Well, let's just say covering distance. So 1 mile. If I asked you, okay, look, I want you to cover a mile as quickly as you can, right? No other parameters besides just that. Just cover a mile, go out, your body, and let's see how long it takes you. Right? For an average person, a normal person, your mile time is probably going to be somewhere around 10 minutes. Okay? So that's just normal. That's just average. Okay? And now let's use another one. Let's use something like a strength number. How much can you pick up from the floor? Like how much weight can you lean over, grab onto, and stand up with without hurting yourself? Okay? And most guys, it's probably going to be somewhere around 100 to 150 pounds. Okay, that's just normal, all right? And now let's maybe add another thing. How much weight can you push over your head, right? And for most people, it's gonna be somewhere around 75 pounds, most guys over 40, right? So these are just kind of normal metrics. These are normal numbers that we can use. And again, the list can be exhaustive. We can just put a bunch of different things in here, a bunch of different tests. So what does it look like to be super healthy? Well, what would someone who's super healthy, what would their blood pressure look like? It's probably closer to like, 100/68, something like that, right? What about their cholesterol? Their cholesterol numbers are probably, maybe in the 160 range, 170 range, right? What does their heart rate look like? Their heart rate might be somewhere around 45 beats per minute, which is incredibly low because their cardiorespiratory system is incredibly efficient, right? Blood pressure here normal, heart rate normal is between 70 and 90, right? Not very efficient, okay? What about this person's mile time? These guys are running 730 miles. Super healthy, probably better, okay? 730 or less, all right? What about, let's say, strength numbers? These guys can easily lift 200 pounds from the floor, maybe more, likely more, right? And again, the list is exhaustive, but we just know if we collect enough data points, we know what puts people into the super health place. And then obviously we have the sick, which I don't want to go through, but you get the idea, right? We can quantify this stuff. We can actually collect data points and we can see who the super healthy people are. Now, if you're a guy over the age of 40, we don't want to be normal for one big reason, at least the way that I see it. There's one huge reason we don't want to be normal, and it's because we're that much closer to being sick. Okay? If I'm just normal and something happens to me, it doesn't take long for me to slide down this slide and get into sick category. So what do I need to do to hedge myself away from sick? I need to chase these numbers. I need to chase these things. I need to get myself way over here as far as I possibly can. I want to be in the minority. I want to be one of the healthiest people that I can possibly be, so that it takes a tremendous amount to get me to go all the way around into sick. I'm hedging myself away from sick. Right? I got to go up the mountain to get to normal and then down the mountain, right? It's a much bigger way to travel, right? So hedging ourselves away. So how do we optimize? How do we get into this place? Well, look, there's three fundamental things, and it's only three things. It's your fitness. When you're chasing fitness, improve the performance of your body. And just broadly speaking, you want to improve your strength, full body strength. I don't mean bodybuilding strength, full body athlete strength, and you want to improve your cardiorespiratory conditioning. You want to build your gas tank. You want to build your efficiency, right? And then the second thing we want to do is we want to improve your nutrition. What's going into your face, right? Because the quality of your foods have so much to do with this stuff. It'll have to do with your performance, how strong you are, your conditioning. It improves your metrics that you get from your doctor. So we have to eat good foods. And the last thing is your rest and recovery. Let's keep it simple. How well do you sleep at night? If you're not sleeping very good, it's going to be much harder to get into these optimized places. Okay, so three things. Look at your fitness, build your strength, build your conditioning, and measure it over time. Secondly, make sure that you're looking at your nutrition, focus primarily on the quality of the food that you're eating. And then thirdly, what does your sleep look like? And that's what's going to help you to get yourself into the super healthy place so that you can look, feel, and perform great, and you can hedge yourself away from the sick spot. Don't go to the sick place. It's a terrible place to be. I've been there before, and believe me, it was the worst time in my life, but it was also the best time in my life because I learned so much. I learned that I don't want to be normal. Normal's not good enough. I refuse to be normal. Instead, I do the work to always optimize. And don't get lost in the weeds here. I think it's very simple for a lot of people to get very lost in the weeds, meaning there's all kinds of different hacks, supplements, sauna, cold plunges, meditation, all these things. They're all great, but if you don't have a good foundation of those three pillars, fitness, nutrition, sleep, then those other things are going to have very little value. So remember to start with the big rocks first, and then you can add in some of those smaller things. And look, if you need help on the journey, that's why I've created the Athletic After 40 coaching program. It's where we help you to optimize your health, your fitness, your nutrition, your sleep. We want to make you a super healthy human so that you don't have to settle for normal. And we do it in a simple, efficient, effective, and safe way, because as a coach, that's the most important thing. How do we keep things simple? How do we do the things that are going to give you the most bang for the buck and teach you the skills that you need that you can sustain for the long term so you can live a super healthy life, or what I like to call the athlete life? Hopefully that helps. If you'd like some help, just hit me up on the messenger and we'll have a chat.